Hey future lawyers, it's your girl Jamil and welcome back to Jamil's Journey to JD. Today I decided to give you guys a little bit of a life update to let you know how things have been going now that I'm officially a 2L. So I'll be giving you guys an update about how school has been going so far. I believe we're in week 3 of our classes. I know I didn't tell you guys about my summer, but I'm ready to kind of update you guys and let you know how things have been going. This is also a friendly reminder to make sure you guys go and follow me on my Instagram at Jamil's Journey to JD. A few days ago, I did post a poll for you guys to ask me any questions that's relating to law school. That's all free game. And I plan to answer those questions today. So again, make sure you guys go ahead and follow me over there so that we can connect more on a daily basis. But yeah, if you guys are ready, make sure you stay tuned and we'll hop right into the video. So the first question that I have is, how are you doing? And how is 1L different from 2L? All right, so I think I'm doing pretty good right now. As I mentioned before, we are in week 3 of classes and things are now starting to get a little deeper. We're getting deeper into concepts. So now I'm at the point where I need to start organizing my notes, start playing around with the information, really dive deep into those cases because like now the foundation has been set and we're going to be, I guess, building on that moving forward. So just making sure that I go to office hours when I have questions, which is on my list of things to do this week. And just to kind of get some clarity on some things that I don't understand just because it's only gonna get more complicated from here. As for the second part of that question, how is 1L different than 2L? I would say it's a big difference. 1L, first of all, everyone who's in your cohort is taking the same classes. And you all travel together for the most part. The only time that we were separated was when we were in our lawyering skills class. I know some other schools call it legal research and writing, but at our school we call it lawyering skills. And so that was the only time when we were in like smaller groups, but for the most part, our major classes, we all traveled together. So that was, I guess, comforting in a kind of way. Now that you're a 2L, you're taking classes with other people from other, I don't want to say grades, but classes, I guess. So people who are 3Ls this year, who were 2Ls last year, I'm taking classes with those people. So it gets a little different because it's like you maybe seen those people in class, well, you may have seen those people in passing, but now having to like be in class with them, it just looks a little bit different. And you know, as a 2L, you're also able to make your own schedule, whereas during 1L year, you're not able to make your own schedule. They just kind of give it to you and everybody takes the same classes. But now there's a little bit more flexibility with deciding, you know, what you want to take, what interests you, what concentrations or certificates you want to graduate with, and kind of being more intentional about your program and, you know, what experience you want to create. How was your summer? So my summer was actually really good. I had an opportunity to work in fair housing. It was me and one other intern there. So we had the opportunity to do like intakes, which was a great majority of the work that we did. So anybody who called the center who wanted advice, any legal advice, had a problem that they wanted a guidance on, we were able to do that for them. Not me per se, because I'm not an attorney, but those intakes happened daily. So we had to return calls and fill out intake forms, which was great. I also got to go to a fact-finding with like the CHRO, which is the Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities, and just see like the legal process about how we file a case in the CHRO when we're trying to get somebody or a landlord to do something. So for those of you who don't know, fair housing, you can mostly think about it more or less like housing discrimination. So anyone who wants to discriminate housing based on, you know, race, religion, ability or disability, you know, sexual orientation, like things like that, like the protected classes. So there's like a whole list of, you know, things that you can't discriminate against someone for having. We had a lot of people calling. We went to housing court. A boyfriend and girlfriend were living together and the boyfriend was trying to evict the girlfriend. So there was, you know, a little bit of drama there, but it was good, and it was good learning experience. The staff were great. I think the biggest lesson that I learned, or one of them as it relates to my legal education, is like realizing that at that time I was a 1L and my legal research and writing was like introductory. So I was like, man, I just don't want to submit anything that, you know, was looking crazy. Like I wanted to present my best work, but understanding that I'm working with attorneys who have been doing this for like 10 years, and their legal research and writing, I'm sure, is much more polished than mine. Well, it is much more polished than mine. So just giving myself the grace to just be where I am academically and just showcase the skills that I know, and knowing that, you know, they hired me for a reason, and if I couldn't do the job, they wouldn't have hired me to do the job. So just finding comfort in that was good. But sometimes hearing the stories about the people who called, it was really sad and really humbling. Some people were living out of their cars behind Walmart. Some people had, you know, infestations and they didn't really know what to do, didn't have any money. Some people were facing rent increases for an additional $100 a month, and they can't afford that. They may have a fixed income, may be working, receiving a check from like Social Security or something, and like literally cannot afford to pay another dollar, much less another $100. And like what that looks like in the combination of like people who could be facing homelessness because they can't afford the market. So that was very touching. I felt like I was doing a lot of impactful work working with people who called the center, and I definitely had a good job. Again, the staff was great, everyone was great, and I would definitely do it again. It made me feel good about the type of work that is done at the center. So what area of law are you interested in? To be honest, I really don't know. I mean, over the summer I had a great time working with housing discrimination and, you know, fair housing, which was beautiful. But I also understand that the law is super broad, and literally you graduate with a general like law degree unless you have a concentration and you know what you want to do. You could obviously tailor a concentration to your likes or desires, but for me, I'm still trying to figure it out. I decided to take a couple different classes this semester, which I'll jump into, hoping that you know, this can expose me to different areas of law, see what I'm interested in, and I'm also looking to see like networking and meeting with people, asking them what a day in their life looks like, just to kind of see if there's something I want to do. I also was recommended to join like the local bar associations because they often have meetings and different like specialized groups. So I plan on like meeting those groups and seeing what they do, what they like to do, and just networking and just getting some exposure just to see what's out there, because the law is literally so broad that I just don't know. I mean, hey, maybe I will end up working maybe corporate or doing in-house counsel or animal law. Like there's literally so much to choose from that I'm like, low-key it's overwhelming. So I'm hoping that just going through my class schedule, networking with people, just kind of seeing what they do will also help unlock the things that drive me, and seeing like how I want to utilize this degree. So what classes are you taking this semester? These classes that I'm taking this semester are income tax, internet law, law and religion, white collar crime, professional responsibility, and real estate survey. The reason that I ended up taking these classes is, number one, professional responsibility is a required course, and also I decided to take, what's the other one that's required? Oh, income tax. So at my school you have to take either income tax or legislation and regulation. So I just decided to do income tax because the professor doesn't require a textbook. He literally reads everything from the PowerPoint. And I hear that he is a softer grader than the professor who teaches the other class. And I'm looking for, well, considering I'm taking 6 classes, I'm like, I don't want to be overwhelmed with all the textbooks and readings and everything that's going on. So it's kind of a flow-through class, but not really. Like I kind of really have to pay attention. But that one's been going great so far. Professional responsibility, that's going great. We're learning a lot about the ethics of being an attorney, the do's and don'ts, so that's cool. Law and religion, that's class I'm taking once a week. That's been going really well. A lot of intersection with the First Amendment and abridging people. You can't, like, the constitutional right to not abridge on people's like religion. So we're talking about like the intersection of those things, which is cool. Internet law is great. We're talking about like the jurisdiction right now of the internet, you know, with different servers and everything being connected. Like when does someone have jurisdiction over the internet, like where you are in the internet and what you do, and copyright law and stuff like that. What else did I say I was taking? UCC, or real estate survey, that class is good. He just reads off the PowerPoint. So yeah, I mean, overall, everything has just been good, relaxing. Not really relaxing, but now it's like I need to kind of step in and take a hold of what's going on before it gets deeper. But right now it's pretty manageable and I don't regret taking 6 classes. What is your favorite and least favorite class so far? All right, so I would say right now my most favorite class is probably white collar crime, and I think it's because I've been watching the show Suits a lot on Netflix. I've been binging it, and so it's kind of cool to be able to see like the correlation in what I've watched on Suits and what I'm reading in my class, in my assigned readings. So I'm like, oh, this is the time when Harvey did this, or this is the time when Mike did that, or you're not supposed to do that. So it kind of makes it a little bit more entertaining, I guess, so to say, because now Suits feel more entertaining and also educational at the same time, and it makes my white collar crime class feel also entertaining for that very reason. I would also say probably my least favorite class right now is probably income tax, and I would say it's just because I need to spend more time with the material. It's a lot of codes and a lot of things that I have to remember, and the professor is definitely going to be looking for me to know those codes and those things that I need to remember. So I just need to spend a little bit more time with it and, you know, just go to his office hours. Then, you know, hopefully we'll just see what happens then. It's how to manage school and life. Like, how do you find that balance between work and school? All right, so this semester feels a lot more flexible than last semester. And I don't really know why. I'm taking one more class this semester than I did last year. But I don't know if it's the timing of my classes. So on Mondays and Wednesdays are my super long days. Like I don't get out until like 8 o'clock at night. Tuesdays and Thursdays I start later, but I also end earlier. So I have a lot more time. Fridays I have no classes. I've never had any Friday classes. My university doesn't have classes on Fridays, which is amazing. And then I have the weekend. So it doesn't seem as hard right now. I try to make sure I still prioritize my self-care routine, whether that means going to get my nails done, hanging out with friends, boyfriend, you know, things like that. When I was a 1L, I also made sure to prioritize those things when I could. But I would say it's really important that whenever you're feeling stressed out, you just have to take a break. So when I get home at when my class ends at 8 o'clock at night, I'm not doing any studying. I've been at school all day. You know, I try to have like those boundaries and that balance in my time and what I'm willing to give during the time. Like I've already maxed out my day. I've been in classes all day. I'm not coming home to do more work. That's to say on the weekends I try to make sure I do a lot of my work, or on Tuesdays and Thursdays when I have big gaps in my schedule, or when I start later on in the day, I make sure I do my work. Or like right now, today is Thursday, I'm filming. I don't have class until 2 o'clock. Right now it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm filming this video. So just trying to be intentional about how I spend my time and what I do during that time. On Friday, I'm going out to dinner with one of my friends. You know, I still have I have a dentist appointment tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So like still making sure that you fit the time in to do things that you need to do for your health. If that means I, you know, did all that I was supposed to do, when I get home at night, I'm just gonna watch an episode of Suits and go to bed. But that means when I wake up in the morning, I need to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, make sure I'm doing my work. So just finding that balance. I would never tell someone to, you know, obviously like disregard your schoolwork, but try to take those breaks when you need them, because that's what's most important. You can't function and process if you're not doing what you need to do. That includes making sure you sleep, making sure you eat, having boundaries as it relates to your schoolwork and not feeling bad for shutting off for the night and closing your book. So have those boundaries with yourself when it comes to your schoolwork, because as I've learned, there is always more work that could be done and you're never really done. It's whether you're reading for the next class, you're reviewing previous class notes, you're updating your outline, or like it's always something. And with taking doctrinal classes, they require a lot. So whether you're practicing essays, getting prepared for finals, like have boundaries with yourself and know what your limits are and just move accordingly to that. But definitely take breaks. Do what makes you happy. If that means going kickboxing, going for a run, which I encourage everyone to exercise, or get some kind of mobility going on. Studying and being a student in general can be very taxing on your mental and physical health, and exercise has been proven to help with those things. So definitely recommend that, fitting that in wherever you can. But other than that, just do what makes you happy, do what brings you joy, and just find those things that ignite you and can help refuel you when you're just feeling burnt out and drained. All right, this is another good one. How do you manage stress? Okay, so going back to the previous tips that I just gave you guys, another thing that I do to manage stress is I also go to see a therapist weekly. I just got a new therapist, but my old therapist left. But nonetheless, I have a new therapist. I'm meeting with her tomorrow. I like to meet with my therapist. I think right now I could do probably like every 2 weeks, and that's just for like maintenance. Law school is very stressful, so I like to talk to a licensed professional just to kind of get some advice, kind of comb through some things, sometimes just learning to deal with my stress. So some of the things lately that I've now incorporated is making sure I practice more mindfulness, practice when my body is feeling anxious, or identifying when my body is feeling anxious, and things that I need to do. So sometimes like I'll light a candle. So like I have a candle on my desk that I light. I have some like stress relief candles that I buy from Bath and Body Works that I absolutely love. I do engage in a lot of aromatherapy. So I have at night I have like the diffusers, like with the oils that you put in. So I like that. Hanging out with friends and family, taking a break. But those are things that I had to learn over time. So you just have to do what works best for you and find out like what will help reignite you. So those are just some of the things, like taking a break and being okay with taking that break is also really, really important. All right, this one is a popular question. How do I organize my notes and my outlines? All right, so I have so many different methods, but I'll try to make it so succinct. So what I do is when I'm in class, I like to handwrite my notes because I like to engage with the professor is saying and like write down notes. Obviously, whatever the professor writes down on the board, I write down in my notes. They also have PowerPoints, so I follow along on the PowerPoints. They send out the PowerPoints either at the end of the class or at the end of the week once we're done with classes. And then so what I do is I'm creating, and this is just something I'm trying new this semester, so I'm creating 2 different documents. One document is just of my class notes and the other one is of my outline. So when I do my class notes, I'm taking my handwritten notes plus the PowerPoints and I'm syncing the information into one document. And then when it comes to my outline, I'm more or less going to do the same thing, but more so like take out the key facts and key takeaways. Not facts, like the rule of the case and like any major things that I need to make sure I remember. I know for some of my classes this year, I'm gonna have take-home exams, which are open book as well. So I hear planning to do that could look a little different because number one, your time, then you have open book. So you feel like the answers are right in front of you, but now you gotta prep like answers to the questions that you think you're gonna have. So just kind of like pre-writing your essay out so that you have time to kind of focus on the other things and fleshing out the information that you need. What else? I did create a video on my channel about like showing you guys how I did my outline. I believe it was my torts outline my first semester of law school, which basically just shows you like the overview, like the breakdown of each element, each type of tort, the case that we did for the tort. So that's how I do it, like very high level. I start with, like, for example, torts. So it's like torts at the top of the page. Then we talk about the different types of torts: an intentional tort, an unintentional tort, strict liability, vicarious liability. Then we jump down, we talk about intentional torts. What are the intentional torts? We have assault, battery, IIED. So going through the types of torts that are intentional, and then we go through the elements of each one. So when we talk about battery, what do we know about battery? It's the intentional, harmful, and offensive touching of a person or person's person, or a thing connected to the person, should I say. So that's how I do it. Then I talk about what case did we read that explains or speaks to that. So that's just kind of how I do it. But again, I'll probably try to link the video to that one. I think, yeah, that was last year, definitely fall semester. All right, last question. It is how to deal with imposter syndrome. All right, so I wouldn't say I've like dealt with this a whole lot, but I have once upon a time in my life dealt with imposter syndrome when I was a part of a program in high school, and I just felt like everybody else around me was so much smarter than me, and they were able to grasp the hold of the information faster than I was, and they were like really understanding and know what they were doing. They were confident and raising their hands in class and things like that. So I definitely can understand how that feels, but I haven't felt that in law school per se. But the advice to the person that I would give asking that question is just to kind of let you know that you belong in law school. The admissions department accepted you into their law school because they knew that you could do the work. They knew that you have what it takes to be successful, and to get through their program. Another thing that I would say is to just be confident in yourself, know who you are. Maybe that means like practicing some affirmations in the morning, or having some sticky notes on your wall with positive messages just to kind of uplift you and encourage you, to remind you that you belong. Another thing is to just try to have tunnel vision and focus on what you have going on in front of you and what your process looks like. So if that means maybe you're a little nervous to ask questions in class, that you go see the professor and have office hours and ask any questions that you have during that time, because you want to be a successful attorney. And even if you don't feel like you belong in this space, sometimes the good thing about it is that if no one knows you, you can literally show up as somebody that you're not. Like, nobody would really know that you're not being your true self, or you're going against how you truly feel. You just like act like you're confident and start moving in that way. Another thing that I would give is to just have a support group of people who you can lean on, whether you decide to have study groups, because law school is also very expensive, and you do want to make sure that you're getting the best out of this experience, that you're not just kind of going with the flow too much, that you're not succeeding because you're afraid or nervous to speak up for yourself, or feeling so much that you don't belong that it becomes a hindrance to your success. So just kind of having that balance, and also like going to a therapist to kind of unpack those things and what that looks like for you, are some things that I would definitely recommend. But all right, you guys, those were all the questions that you guys submitted to me, and I had such a great time updating you guys about my summer and also how things have been going with me for a second year law student. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Also, let me know down below in the comment section if you want to have a part 2. I'm more than happy to do another update, maybe around like Thanksgiving time, just kind of let you guys know, like a midpoint check-in, and I'll be more than happy to do that. You can leave down below any questions that you want to ask me for part 2. Also, again, make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Jamil's Journey to JD, because I do leave an opportunity for you guys to ask me any questions, and for me to kind of check in and let you guys know how things are going more on a daily basis. I am gonna try to do some more uploads regularly, so again, in the comment section below, let me know what things you would like to see from me and how I can best help you. But yeah, you guys, if that's it, I'm going to get ready to do some work now. Again, I mentioned I have class at 2 o'clock, and I gotta get moving. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.